picks for Team Heretics, and of course, this is FNATIC's pick. Let's see if that stat is going to be hurt and harmed here today. As FNATIC on the defense, getting aggressive, and it's Kayak with a double opening. The flash helped him out for the second, but the first was all him. Little bit of space taken by Heretics in response, but a 5v2 that they're now left in.
Yeah, I think they did the exact same thing in the pistol versus Liquid, this aggressive defensive side push. And has left Miniboot in an almost impossible position, but bear in mind Kayak's low. And Miniboo, when you talk about statistics, when you talk about ACS, this has been the guy throughout the season that's been able to take rounds home in scenarios that never should have been. This crossfire should be impossible, but the first one comes cleanly. The next two might be a little bit tougher.
Yeah, there's still some room for this to swing back in the favor of Team Heretics. A strong squad when it comes to that pistol round win rate. See if it can be converted by the crossfire in play. Chronicles contact and the swing from Crash. He's down below. In fact, it would. Here's the danger.
They're even going to steal an orbital too, but I think they're very aware of the few spots on the map. There could be less saying that. Rians is the first to take a jewel, but Chronicle at range should have them dead to rights. Obviously not wanting to overface, but here's the steps coming and just farming up those orbs. Eventually he's going to get overwhelmed though, and this could be a problem. That's now the rifle. Look at the guns that are left for FNATIC. They've only got the pistols remaining. One comes up for Alpha here, but this has all fallen apart.
Boaster's got a chance.
The weapons and the pistols left behind. You now look at the economy available. I guess it doesn't matter. I guess the Classic is a much better gun than I'm giving it credit for.
FNATIC coming into this game at least the best anti-eco team in the league. Well, that statistic just took a big hit in a big game as well. Trying to fight back with an eco of their own. And at least for now, it looked...
I think fighting back in is always going to be that little bit more difficult. Utility to try and hold them into place, and well, it's not the prettiest of shots. Rians does well, but the spike has been dropped to the deck. Still though, now back into a 2v2 scenario. Benji trying to find a little bit of extra space. He's been in top form as of recent games, but this is still not an easy position to get out of.
Covered weapons for FNATIC. They can pack a punch in these fights, but they haven't got the shields to last. Once shots land in the other direction.
Found a gap around the edge of the cam. I don't think Benji's going to have any idea that he's here. And it's not the prettiest of shots, but Kayak is still standing.
Somehow, yeah, he gets there in the end. Alpha Air above the smoke onto Miniboo, and now the numbers in FNATIC's favor. The weaponry there, the ult's online, and it's the neural theft finding the information. Big swing from Kayak. Shots, though, just not landing. And a Rolling Thunder in response is going to slow down that main take. Woot still flying under the radar up top. They've not spotted him. Chronicle may well have heard those steps as he swung out wide, and with Boo tagged low, this round can easily fall apart for Heretics. It's a brave stand out in the middle of the open. And he will find one on low HP. That's as solid as you could hope for, but Woot being rooted leaves Rienz alone. The last man standing, players all around, but he isolates it to just Chronicle. The time ticking, and it's already gone. Please to start out Fracture. Heretics, 70% of times they play an opponent's map, they steal it away. Alpha fired up inside of main. He finds the opening. He's dancing through the smokes, but eventually he will fall. The weaker weapons that are left in this round still managing to pack quite a punch. Boaster's taken down one. The numbers are somehow in FNATIC's favor. Damage is done too. And now the players are coming back up through main. This south side push from A main, well, it bought them a bit of space. But that orbital strike takes it right back into Heretics' favor. 2v3.
Yeah, he'd normally want to save that for the post, but they desperately needed that extra space. With Armageddon available, well, not anymore. Benji will win the fight that takes the ult out. Even still, an immediate trade. But this allows Boo back into those post-plant scenarios. We've seen this many a time. It might actually get an early fight. Chronicle has managed to slip the net into the close corner. I don't know if he's going to check it whatsoever. Just a smart play from the breach now on the other side. And what FNATIC will break back maybe a little earlier than expected as that low buy succeeded.
Yeah, I think Chronicle might have just heard the very end of the reload as he walks up against Kayak. He has been shut down in week 5 when they played each other. It was the Kayak show. Now his opportunity for redemption up against the man himself. Benji Fishy is caught in the corner, finds himself one anyways, and a little bit of extra info. Cage trying to keep himself alive. Rien's at least able to trade it out, keeping favor in Team Heretics camp, but the spike still needs to be planted. And Crashies is here waiting for that cross. For now though, it seems like they might be expecting the rotation. Alphair steps away from the site, leaves Crashies alone, and maybe they don't want this fight. Heretics could get a free plant. In fact, they get a free pick on top.
He's had a good season individually, but struggled when it came to this matchup, maybe having to focus a little bit more with how aggressive some of these plays can be. Chronicle, though, ready and waiting. Always been one of his best maps over on Fracture. And for now, at least, they have the opening advantage.
Oh, that timing perfect on the swing. Alphair took a while to get there. He's a little quicker swinging onto Boo, though. Benji Fishy only got one last round. He wasn't happy with that. Steps up for a second, but not quite the third. It's Alphair to take it across the line, putting just Rien's up against the rest. They know exactly where he is. He's tripping wires. He's caught by the ult, and now
seems like FNATIC take over, and when he's having to play around that util a bit more, it doesn't seem to work.
Well, there's util off rip from Heretics. They're looking for aggressive space take, much to Rien's chagrin. He goes down to the salvos in main. Quick trades back and forth, and it leaves FNATIC with the advantage. Fast rotations from that A site. We've seen this a couple times now, but Boo manages to find one with a classic. He's gonna need a little bit more though. Seconds on the clock. Boo knows the ults he's up against. Gotta make a move. The plant is a tap, 10 seconds, and the orbital strike comes into play.
Always been known for a lot of those utility setups you'd expect that on a map of their choice, they'd be strong in it. Pace change though coming in, and wow, Alphair, he's been at the right place at the right time. Dominating that B site, this time swaps to A, and already that's Miniboo gone again.
We already mentioned, you know, early on, it was his former teammate Rien's the one putting up those numbers, but Alpha very much leading the charge on the server in these last couple rounds. And on the scoreboard, as we see more bodies thrown at that site, they'll finally deal with him, but the reinforcements are here. Players covering all the angles from Sand and Spawn. They will take down on that stage. More brazen plays surely around the corner. Big stun on the Boaster. He's going to be caught again by Miniboo. Opening duel goes his way, but he's caught by Chronicle.
Absurd amount of space to be had by Kayak. Could definitely create some awkwardness with an operator. He needs to land the immediate shot. Benji gets a kill on the other side, but Kayak is well aware. Another for Rien's though. And again, both teams have had relative success with these lower purchases, with both players now having guns. With a Rolling Thunder available, it's going to come down to the timing of what Kayak can get.
It was a crazy cerebral round from Heretics to fake back to A, late play into B, but now they've got to finish their dinner. Left
for the side of Heretics, and now they come in with an Armageddon orbital strike. If they give them,
hoping that Boo will make a mistake, denying this plant though, seems big a task. Boaster's pushed out, big orbital strike.
Yeah, you think they're not going to ult the same place twice, but clearly realizing that that ground had been retaken, they will now get themselves a pick off that orbital strike. And finally that plant will come in. Retreat should be impossible, but actually, Boo manages to get away. There are a lot of tag players though. Benji Fishy looking to hold on to the cross. Rien's already eliminated by Alphair, putting things back into that 4v4 scenario, and now looking to try and clear things together. They need to get this close position out though, and Miniboo's just looking to try and survive in the corner, just dancing with death, but he survives all the way back around. And while trying to clear him, that spike has been slowly ticking away. Chronicle with another. The trades coming back and forth, but still the attack have the time on their side, and with the salvos buying an extra few seconds at a peak, able to come from either side, but Kayak manages to land both shots!
They looked like they were off to a good start, but disruption early on from Heretics has slowed down. And now it could be FNATIC's time to shine. Big pick for Kayak early. That dish control working wonders, and the response on the other side is to try to push Boaster. Try and fail.
Already ultimate thrown in, both players hit. Woot just trying to survive at the back of the site, and they know exactly where he is, clinging desperately to life. There should be no way out of this round for for the side of Heretics with Boaster adding his...
And now taking advantage of the space as they heard that A main crunch. They heard a lot of utility, they heard steps, so they know there's space. And Alpha has just walked out of heaven, taken down Voot with ease, and the B side open for the plans. Boaster gets a little too aggressive, punished forward, expecting a gap, and there certainly was not one there. But a 4v4 post plant for FNATIC as a result. The camera even spotting this two-man north side push. A lot of information now for that attacking side to work with.
They managed to at least reclaim the ramp. And Alfia already picking off Benji. This is looking like a second pistol potentially going their way. They're going to have one of these fights going their way. And in fact, it's gone completely wrong, Rians, though. Never count him out. The salvos will buy that extra time. That's a bigger issue. He was hoping. Force players in. He's actually clipped it. And now an aftershock as well. The two...
They had all the information and they played off it perfectly. Heretics left with pistols, and although they may be a strong squad when it comes to eco rounds, I don't think the FNATIC are going to make that same mistake twice.
No, they do still have the same amount of pistols, but it also means that they can afford a little bit of extra damage. That was close.
Got a little worried there, Tom.
Kayak down to just 21, but you can see immediately that rifle has been juggled over into Alfia's hands for the remainder. And it comes down to just how much damage can they get. That's at least one for Miniboo, but anything more from this stage, be a bit surprised.
And even then, as long as Crashies is the one going down or close enough to retrieve the weapon, it doesn't really matter. Miniboo just now seeing that it was only a ghost that's left on the floor. And the benefit of Kayak being one of those players that will just juggle over the weapon. We've seen a lot of players, 20 HP, still swinging with the rifle, making that mistake, but the discipline on FNATIC, no surprise to see it. Hello. The orb a little more valuable to Chronicle. He'll get a chance.
And they've still got an awful lot of ground to clear. Timing here for Woot. It's going to be absolutely everything. If he gets this pick, it could be a problem, but Kayak has been an unstoppable force so far in this map, and now just sells a ruse. You see the aggression going through on that top side of the map, making that realization, okay, they're going to A. Let's start clearing out the other side, and now the smokes fall, and they are nowhere to be seen.
They already got rid of that camera early on inside B main, so it's not to be worried about. Rien's dealt with. He was already so desperately low. Boo ahead of the curve, but Chronicle still picks him up. Now just one away from that Rolling Thunder and one pick away from putting double digits on the board. There's Rolling Thunder online one way or another. And Miniboo doesn't stand the greatest chance of taking this across the line. I don't know how far away Crashies is from those salvos, but I think they'll be online fairly soon. Even as Miniboo continues to chip away at this task, it's like Atlas, it will never end. Certainly not in his favor, as the players continue to be picked off. Salvos
was because of this squad in front of them. Even if internationally they did better. Kayak, he definitely knows that there's a target to be had, and well, is waiting for Riens to make his move. So aware of these positions, and even under pressure, he's still landing the shots.
They'll be ticking away in the background and other players throwing themselves at this fight. Boo would have to root Crashies out first. He has found him and taken him down. Recovered the weapon for the magazine, finds his third now.
Someone we know that normally individually sound has not won a lot of these opening fights, but will take Boaster out. The orbital strike gone, and so are the smokes.
Hasn't deterred them. Salvos force players to the open, the smoke shielding them for now. Alfia picked off going up into heaven, and now, well, even orbital strike committed. 5 versus 3, 25 seconds on the clock when that ult is taken out. I'm a little surprised. The respect being shown, perhaps for good reason, but they drop Kayak right away. 10 seconds, salvos to deny, and the round is already done. If this spike makes it down, I will be very surprised indeed. And Benji will be under pressure anytime now. An ultimate put into play. Kayak on his way straight through. There it is activated. But Miniboo's the first to draw blood. It's Benji under the pressure as predicted. Miniboo to fall as well. Numbers kept even, but the attack side has space. Rolling Thunder keeps the spike in the defender's hands. They've got it dropped in towards main for now, but Alfier way around to close this out from behind. Rien's worried about the players in main. Now he's got an idea though. Alpha
Well, for Heretics, it is a mixed bag buy. You've got an operator alongside Ultimate for Miniboo. It feels like they've almost put all their eggs in one basket. He's dead immediately. Alpha here again with the opener.
I was saying earlier, you can't take anything away from him. His utility so important here on the attack, but now he's starting to claim a name for himself with the gun in hand. I think just one behind Kayak. In terms of frags, Mike just matched up there. Benji down on the ground, and the dominoes all falling in favor of FNATIC. Boo! Even lost on that south side push. There's almost nothing to fall back on here. They've at least dealt with Alpha here, but let's be honest, there's very little when it comes to weakness here on the FNATIC side. I think Boaster one away from having, in fact, there it is, the same amount of kills as the last time these two met in a series. This is a FNATIC fired. The opening pick as a result. They even suspect that he wasn't alone, but Crashies bides his time.
Some legs in it, 2 quick kills.
Where has this hope come from? Oh, the stun perfect though. Chronicle gonna be caught out. Rianne's the one to take him down, and now Crashies all alone. And they're lined up, the high-low setup almost isolates one. The shot's not quite landing. 4, 3, 2 bullets left, and he's out. The reload they'll swing on, but that's a mistake. Unfortunately, time is... This one, it's 5 players, tucked passive, late play from Rianne's to wrap around, see if he can pick up. Because you're getting the sense here, they're going to go down to the spot.
And within the last second, they're going to attempt it, but there are players peeking in. The plan will go down, but Kayak is quick to make sure nothing comes.
Somebody goes for that mid-aggression. In the end, it doesn't really come through. You could consider...
A little bit further up behind, was hoping to force them forward, but with the space already taken by Miniboo, they weren't too wary about it. Still looking to hold on to that backline. Kayak is the snake in the grass, the second layer to this rotation, and it seems like at this stage, the attack are completely unaware that there is another player coming in from behind.
They have no idea. And now even less so, looking for that retake, looking for the fight. Alpha, 8 HP. All hope may rest on Kayak's head, but he manages to find one. Alpha buys that little bit of space. The wall not quite lasting. Kayak's flank could have had so much more value, but a few early peaks by Heretics.
Has taken a lot of space over on that A site. The problem, though, is that they are loosed.
They're managing to hold the line against the onslaught from spawn. Kayak, the man with the rifle, buys time, grabs their attention, and Crashies takes them both out with plenty of time for the defuse. And the oh, it's actually a little gap in it. They'll walk right past it, so a little bit more space taken. Boaster closer than it.
From Kayak, a cheeky wall put into position.
Oh, it's got a lot of space and forcing the fights as they're out in the open and put.
It didn't work. I accidentally pulled out my heel.
Well, Crashies has also got his claws out. Boaster's
brutal scenario. I think you can see the defense maybe starting to question if they've gone back in the other direction, but
it's a different story altogether trying to take that pick. Rianne's, well, he was in a good position outside of the pit. Unfortunately, the wingman caught onto his tricks early on, and that will be back-to-back in-zone flawlesses for FNATIC. Now, Heretics did...
Also becomes an issue. 2 slows and the wall available. They're walking straight into that crosshair, but Miniboo is going to find the trade. At least it's not another flawless. We're not getting the 3-peat of in-zone flawlesses, but that's a bit of a silver lining. Benji's done well. Chronicle down. Still the salvos coming into play. Crashy's got to be the most irritating Teo to play against. With the timing, Wu has found some space. Unexpected, not known, but Alfia quick on the trade. In fact, he'll find both. It looked close for a second or two, but with the form that Alfia is in, it's not looking like close for long.
No, and as well, like I said, Crashy's getting his claws out in some of these previous... Final right now, and the grand final seemingly locked in. Big changes needed, but Heretics call a pause to seek out those answers. Another opening duel for FNATIC. This time, don't fully commit their hand, so they can't turn back. Here goes the ult, and now the flank from FNATIC shows its full hand. One player goes back to deal with him, but there's actually 2 players on the flank, and they find out the hard way. Benji, at least able to pick off Chronicle. The players now awaiting on site. I say players, it's just one. It's Boo, isolated. But he has managed to fly under the radar. A free pick on Boaster and Alpha. Here's the round they needed. Even the lockdown lockdown committed and denied. Kayak, you've been sublime so far, but a little more needed.
Got res.
There's the pick and the res, and that brings them right back into the round.
And you finally managed to deal with Alfier and someone brings him back to life. Counter lockdown going to be put into play. The round's so much more important than anything else. Alfier actually looking to try and play ahead of it, and he'll be dealt with by Riens. And while there's not a lot of time left
On the board, and it's not too late to finish this half on equal footing.
we've seen in a lot of other rounds.
I think you're very ready for it, though. Look, there's 4 players already on this site, and they are trained in on that position now. As 2 fall, they think it'll be a little bit more free, a little bit more open, but Heretics, well, they couldn't be more wrong. Left with just 1, he's on the ropes quite well, as FNATIC still have 4 players close by.
I think also having the drone, also having Wingman as well, that's important to try and find some damage as the Wingman goes for the plant. I don't know if it's going to plant. No, it's not. It's failed. And now they're stuck again. They have to go pushing. They have to go moving. Miniboo lands a second shot, though. He might just be keeping them in the round, but there's the swing. Spike dropped once again. With 7 seconds left, Chronicle, all he has to do is try and drop it one more time. I think the difference, though, today is that I think FNATIC have done really well to sort of disorientate them. And well, just look at the immediate rundown. Heretics not feeling the burn just yet, as they will run it straight into their opponents. There's a lot of counter utility being put into play, though. Still opportunities to try and fight this back, although has somehow managed to completely dodge that stun. He won't dodge the bullets, and what was a great...
Good. But here, FNATIC definitely upping the challenge a little bit. This 3v2. Everyone tagged on that attacking side, but they've got the numbers and the unknown factor. The positions having to be cleared, swinging out.
Match still coming up. This one,
Alpha. Good job.
it's all about getting in towards that grand final. A chance at the trophy. Damn, nice shot from Miniboo, but again, the first kill might go the way of Heretics, but the second and the third go in the other direction. Boo has picked up the mantle of his brother, trying to do that little bit more. Some nice shots, but the round still looks favored. The man against them, though, maybe the last man you'd want to come up against here.
He's up close, he's ahead of the curve. He's taking guard. Look at where Alpha's going. He's so focused on this path, on even it being a side push, but now he's spotted him. What a shot! What? 3 ends! Connects 2 to the dome of Alfier! And while the pistol round may not have fallen into their favor, the pistol of Riens brings this round back into
Left click.
That was a left.
Well, the first one was the right click.
Yeah, the up close battle. I don't think he quite would have been right clicking Alfier from there, away from them. They'll still have money for the next. Don't worry about that. It's not the biggest risk ever, but it gives them a huge opportunity. The opening pick already there is Kayak with another Alpha, returning with the classic onto Woot, and all of a sudden, this round that had little to speak about in favor of FNATIC, just 2 rifles, now they've got 4. And there's only 2 rifles for Heretics, only 2 players left standing.
Benji's held the line at least for a little bit. He's managed to find a gap, but the trade was never going to not come through. They were all back passive, waiting patiently for a single tap to come through, and guess what? Those salvos are online once again. Crashy's always so irritating in these scenarios that time is ever ticking, ever falling. And for Boo, I feel like at this stage it just has to be the retreat. And I think even the FNATIC players are starting to realize it. Look where Crashies has got to. He's just trying to stop him getting out of there, wants to remove that gun, and that's exactly what... Well, they've used it as a ramp. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Miniboo, he's been struggling this game, and just look at the amount of utility that's being put in. They knew exactly where he would land. And yeah, the hero gun has ended up as the 0 gun. Nothing found. A lockdown to force any players off this site. You had the stack. You had the players in the right place at the right time. Unfortunately, you gotta run.
And that was it. That was the worry. 3 players tucked in, ready for the fight. A real chance for Heretics, but the lockdown wisely put into play by Alfier here, leaving FNATIC with double digits on that familiar scoreline of 6. It was around now. FNATIC just ran away with it, going back to Fracture. We may see the
Valorant how difficult it could be to play. He does survive though, but well, his teammate has not. In fact, Rians didn't even last long.
Man, now Woot's looking the wrong way again. I mean, those players were under so much pressure, and they struggled.
Found the one gap.
The tiny gap. And immediately on the way back in, FNATIC
been able to find that same value we've seen all season. Like, you talk about miniBoo being the highest ACS player. Well, he hasn't been in this game. Boo, though, will at least start things off with an opening pick. And that's Kayak gone. So the res won't be used. Unfortunately, you can't bring yourself back.
That is 2 rifles, though, for Team Heretics. Boo has 1, Benji has the other. The rest are sitting down with pistols. Space taken, but spotted. And on the way back, he's dead. Dead to rights. Good spam.
Look how many people have just started running the other way. The problem is how much time can be bought. Woo needs to just try and get 1 here, and he doesn't. But there's a Hunter's Fury on the other side, and that will do the job. That will clear everything out, and Boaster's late flank, well, it's too late.
Whoa. He almost gets taken down there by the Sheriff. Rian's going back.
Realization.
Monster on the loose.
And a good job that they're playing that bit more passive. Thrash is on its way. It's caught 1, but miniBoo's down below, ready to pounce. Boaster gets caught in mid as well. Really nicely played by Heretics, covering all their bases, defending the man that got caught by the Thrash. And now 3 players on site, ready for the battle. FNATIC walking right in to the fray. I like Kayak's spot, but no one's giving him an angle. Oh, here we go. He's up and above. He's caught them in the ult. The trade comes in quick with miniBoo shutting that down. Alpha all alone. He's been sensational so far. Gets the opportunity for 1, but with 12 seconds left, that plant has to be stuck at this time, and the flank indeed should secure this round as he runs for that safe spot. It wasn't so safe with Boo around.
Yeah, you can forgive him for making the prediction that, okay, if they put that lockdown in...
4 players in position, ready to take that space. Ult pop, I believe, by miniBoo. The Viper's pit from the attack, though, that's going to be tough to fight back through with Alpha instantly rezzed.
They were hoping to try and kill him off again. Alpha are actually now 1 away from the lockdown. He gets a pick, and that kill on Tim might actually end up helping out. Chronicle as well, just holding the line already. They're trying to get it. Actually, I think that nanoswarm has missed. It's bounced up, but it doesn't matter. The spams have done the work anyway. And now all that remains is Boo! He's landed a multitude of kills, looking for a little bit more, but it was too much to...
Down below. Nano active, just so Benji could clear below, but he's worried about someone being in tube, and he should be. He spotted the shoulder, spotted the elbow, and takes Alpha down, ready for the rest, but Kayak bests him. Find some solid ground to fight from. Towards Snowman is where they're looking, but there's plenty of players waiting. In goes the Armageddon, it's caught 1, Riens is down, Woot forced into the open, and now the round seems to be in FNATIC's favor. A lot of ground to cover by miniBoo, by Boo. The pit falls and they know where he's coming from. They'll drop him right away.